Hey, Councilmember Waring.
Hello everybody. Um, so
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, we up?
Yes, sir. And Mr. Chairman, the mayor is actually joining. He just joined.
All right, great. Great to have him on. All right, let's call the meeting in order and let's observe a moment of silence. And again, we all hopefully include the people in Texas and North Carolina, all experiencing tragedies and family loss in our moment of silence as we go in the presence with the Lord. Thank you. The chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes of January 16th, 2025 meeting. I'm sorry, not January, June 16th, 2025.
Move for approval.
Second. Properly moved and seconded. Do we have any questions on those minutes? Hearing none, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We're down to item E1, acceptance and dedication rights away. Who's gonna handle item E1? Mr. King. You're on mute.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
thank you. This is Tim Keene. This first one is a final piece of a multi-use path on Riverland Drive there at Camp Road, where the intersection is,
Right.
connecting it down to the closest street, Crate Myrtle. And the county asks that we maintain. We're maintaining the rest of it, the multi-use path. So they ask that we maintain this piece as well.
All right. What's the pleasure of the body?
So move.
Properly moved and
Second.
second. Any more discussions on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. E2.
Aye.
McKee?
This one is just this is a short section of granite curb, as you know, downtown, where the city requires granite curb. DOT had decided years ago that they would not maintain granite curb, so the city does that, and that's what this request is related to. This is on Spring Street, right there on a vacant parcel that I think used to be a fast food restaurant that's being redeveloped.
Okay. All right. We have a motion?
So move. Second.
Probably moved second. Any discussion on E2? E2. On E2, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. E3. Back to you, Mr. King.
I think Matt Fountain is here for this one. Matt,
This
are
one?
you taking this
Central
one?
Park Road?
Yeah, but Sherman, I can certainly take this one. This is basically similar to the other two, but instead for a city capital project, the Central Park project, same situation where SCDOT will require us to maintain the infrastructure improvements we're putting in, which include a muted tide gate and check valve and box culverts at Central Park Road. I'm sorry, at Riley Road, and then box culverts at Central Park Road.
Okay.
Move for approval. Second.
I'll move second. Any discussion on E3? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? E4, retreat at Verdier Phase 2.
Mr. Chair, I'll take these two. These are two acceptance of new streets in two developing neighborhoods off Bees Ferry Road. Ashley Walk there is the one that's off Sanders Road. It's a small development of townhouses. And then on the other side of Bees Ferry Road at that same intersection is Verdier. And so this is a section of a first phase of Verdier that's being done by, you've got the builder's name. I can't remember which builder it is now. I think it's Beezer, or it might be D.R. Horton, but one of the builders out there. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So we've gone through this process with them on both the retreat at Verdier Phase 2 and then also Ashley Walk townhomes to require that they submit all of the paperwork necessary for a dedication of public streets to the city and done the associated inspection. So we're ready to accept these.
Okay, since the discussion included items E and 4, I would hope that the motion would include items E and 4. What's the motion?
Move to approve both,
Five.
both of them.
4 and 5, yeah, okay.
Second.
Probably move to approve items E, 4, and 5. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. I know these temporary encroachments are just for information. Are there any exceptions that kind of stick out that needs to be brought?
Mr. Chair, this is Tim again. There isn't. These are typical
Standard.
we get installing fences in drainage easements or signage or non-standard material like brick pavers for driveways. We do require encroachments for these just to protect the city. So nothing unusual here.
All right, good. G1 doesn't have any updates for public service on this agenda. That's a good thing. It means things are getting done. H1.
Right, Mr. Chair, this is Tim again, and I'll present these. We have City Council last year, in the summer of last year, we concluded a process, and City Council approved agreements with 3 private engineering firms that would do plan review for the city to supplement our plan reviewers because of the incredible volume of work we have. The city went through a process to select some private engineering firms that would help us by doing plan review. We selected these 3 firms here. So you have them under H here, 1, 2, and 3. We've got Ardura, we've got Kimley Horn, and we have Wolpert. So those 3 firms were engaged to support us on plan review. That was a really good decision for the city to do that because it's really been incredibly helpful with the large volume of reviews that we have to do for everything, including stormwater. It's been hugely helpful. So what's on the agenda today is to increase those contract amounts for each of those selected vendors by $100,000 each, just because, you know, we're in anticipation of finishing out the remainder of this year, 2025. We don't want to bump up against those limits. We have separately, we have budget for this, you know, which was part of the 2025 budget.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to increase the contract amounts for each of these vendors so that we are able to distribute those reviews or continue the re-reviews as needed without bumping up to those limits.
Okay. Can we get a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Move for approval all 3.
Okay.
Second.
One thing I want to do is call attention to, and I know Mr. Keene is up, but I got to tell you, the pivot towards extending a hand towards of help from the private sector to help move these plans along is making a big difference. I know Mr. Fountain's involved with that too, and they need to be recognized for that. It's making a difference. I mean, somebody needs to mute that who's not unmuted here anyway. But anyway, it's making a difference in the backlog that used to be on maybe on somebody's desk. And I'm getting calls from developers and of thanks for having things break the backlog, so to speak. I don't know if any of you all have, but I certainly haven't. Recognition needs to be given for the change that's been implemented. I know the mayor's been a big fan of that, and it's making a difference. So if you haven't heard from anybody, keep your ears out, because just because it's the city of Charleston, it shouldn't have to take 2 years to get a plan approved. So that said,
Amen to that.
any more discussion on that? But I got to tell you, it's really making a difference. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, thank you, gentlemen, for what you're doing, Mr. Keene and Mr. Fountain, the mayor, and others, staff. I stormwater management update, Forest Acres, improvement phase 2. Mr. Fountain, go handle that one.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is just a update for the committee that the Forest Acres Phase 2 project was recently awarded the South Carolina American Public Works Association Project of the Year in the environment category. So I just wanted to pass that along, that continued good recognition for that project.
Congratulations on your work.
It's a nice.
Agreed.
I gotta tell you, take a point of privilege on this one. This is a drainage program, Councilman Gregory, when you handled West and East Oak Forest, but this was pretty much in West Oak Forest. Phase 2 is you and my dad and others around the table worked to get the money. I voted on it, but you all worked to get the money for phase 1. And obviously that work continued with phase 2. These people used to flood from their backyards off of Falkirk. The water would go underneath their houses, on the side yards, into Falkirk, across Falkirk, into the yards facing them, and streets would be flooded. And that had been going on for, not for years, for decades. And the design of this project, even after putting the larger canal through, I would say probably 8-9 months before it was finished, the better part of a year before it was finished, the improvements was such that the people were really raving. Neighbors were raving that, yeah, the fences were torn down and some of the backyards were rearranged. And that was an inconvenience, no doubt. But water were no longer going underneath their homes and flooding their streets and flooding their neighbors' yards across the street. That's a big win when that happens. And all this was done with gravity flow, not taking a pump that would, when it got overwhelmed, it would just quit working. And so kudos to you, Mr. Fountain, and your team. And I forget Anthony's last name, but Anthony that works with you and all in that department who engaged with the neighbors and held their hands when it was important to hold their hands. So when I saw the award, I said, this is great. Somehow I gotta let these people over there know that they didn't stop dealing with any drainage project, drainage project that was recognized and praised and salutated. So thanks a lot for all of that that's done. This does pass the 50-year test, Mr. Mayor and council members. I passed that on.
Amen.
To say it, does it pass the 50-year test? This drainage project certainly does. 8I2. Every time I see National Fish and Wildlife, I think of Mr. Fountain because I never heard of NIFWA before he brought it up. But anyway, thanks for the money. H2, Mr. Fountain.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as you mentioned, this is the same grant agency that we've had great success with in the Church Creek Basin, as well as some of the early work in the Barbary Woods project on Johns Island. But this is looking for a grant application towards preliminary design and site assessment work for Newmarket Creek, towards looking at adding some tide protection under Morrison, and then ecological restoration of the creek, and potentially bringing better public access into that system. So just permission to apply for the grant at this point, but please let me know if you have any questions.
What's the pleasure of the body? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moving second. Any discussion on that grant application? Hearing none, all in favor, please say
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I3, Low Bradley Phase 4. Mr. Fountain.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is change order number 10 with Gulfstream Construction. It's a just over $200,000 change order. Basically, as we were finalizing the road reconstruction, going past the turn on Murray Boulevard, the contractor found some unsuitable soils, which are basically soft soils that won't hold the level of compaction to support the road long term. Those had to be dug out and removed and replaced with a bridge lift of stone and then earth on top of that. This should be the final work effort for the project, other than the aesthetic work to finalize, and then there'll be a closeout deductive change order to balance everything out. So it should be the end of risk on the project.
Wow. Before this, can we can you set up a tour, maybe if council wants to come by and kind of look at what's going on the other side of the skirting on this project? I know it's coming to an end, but that's been again a wonderful project right there. So if you can reach out sometime after the meeting anyway, sometimes this week and maybe schedule time because I sure would like to.
Yeah, it's a
I
great idea, Mr. Chairman.
don't
You're
want
right.
to
We
be
have about
audacious and just jump the fence, you know.
No, it's a great idea, Mr. Chairman. We have about a month left of kind of closeout work for the project, so perfect timing to do that as it's kind of construction safe at this point.
All right, great. So, do we have a motion to approve this change
So
order number 10? Properly moved and
Second.
probably moving second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, all say aye. See, somebody's talking in the background. I don't know if that somebody wants to be recognized, but anyway, I think the motion carried. But let's do it again. All in
Mr.
favor,
Chairman,
please
that
say
that
aye.
the background's me. I'm on the airplane, so
Oh, okay.
might be
Okay.
loose. I'm trying to
No.
mute in and out.
I know
Sorry
what
about
that was. Okay.
that.
I got you. Okay. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Good. Thank you. E4, update on work within small project allocation, Council Lady Parker. So, Ms. Parker?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just requested that this be on the agenda just in the hopes that we could get some updates on the small projects that we had approved.
Well, listen, small projects have a big bang. Mr. Fountain?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a presentation that I can share for this. Let me
Great.
just share my screen. Right. So we're gonna work through first the completed projects. These are from the recent allocations. So the first project, Sandhurst Conveyance Improvement. This was a preliminary evaluation of drainage improvements in the Sandhurst neighborhood. We've completed that evaluation, come up with a few options for improvement. One of the short-term improvements was cleaning and reestablishing the existing pipe system that runs through a series of rear yards. Part of that pipe system was built out of metal pipe and was collapsing and causing drainage issues. So we were able to clean that and do a trenchless lining, where basically we were able to do this equipment you see on the top of the screen, line the pipe, get flow restored. We've had some great reports from residents saying it is draining out much quicker. It still needs a eventual capital project to prevent the short-term flooding, but the road does drain now even during very significant rainstorms. So that completed the small project work. Now we'll look at it for potential capital project. Oh, there's my video. Rebellion Road, this is an outfall cleaning project. Permitting complete, construction complete, and here's a photo of what that cleaned outfall looks like. Moving into projects that are in the construction phase. The Howell Avenue Ecological Park. This started as a small project for design and permitting, and then did receive some additional National Fish and Wildlife Foundation funding, as Mr. Chairman was mentioning a few minutes ago, for an additional $1 million towards this project. We are working with Charleston County. The Charleston County performed rough grading of the site. There you can see them in the photo above, kind of working through excavation. That work is now done. Field ops, our city field ops crews are doing the fine grading to smooth out the final site topography. And then we are working sort of as a prime contractor on this site with a series of subs to do culvert installations and landscaping installations for the property. All of that should be completed by fall of 2025, so in the next few months. Oak Forest property retrofit, Mr. Chairman, this we've had a series of these retrofits in this area.
Right.
As you're well aware, this was the last of the individual home acquisition and demolitions that we've currently received funding for from FEMA. So the property's been demolished, design is complete, permitting is complete, have a construction contract approved, just mobilizing the contractor to the site. Expect that planting work to also be complete this fall. This is directly next to one of the other existing small retrofits, so it'll be doubling the size of that site, which will be great. It's had some significant flood relief for how small those sites are.
That's great. Go back to that one, Mr. Fountain. I just touched on that in a real estate meeting an hour and a half or so ago. What's the grant when a house floods repeatedly? Uh, does the federal government fund 65% of that, and then we come up with a 35% match? What's the breakout on that?
So there's two different grant programs, Mr. Chairman. Either grant program can have a 75-25 match for both acquisition and demolition cost. The flood mitigation program, the proactive program, also can have a 90-10 or a zero match depending on the level of flood claims for the property historically. So those, they look at it from like an actuarial insurance perspective and see if it's severe repetitive loss, there is no match for the city. If it is repetitive loss, there's a 10% match. And then if it only has claims but hasn't hit those thresholds, it's a 75-25 match.
Okay, thank you.
So very, very cost-effective approaches to reduce flood impacts on residents. Willow Walk Shoreham, this project is in construction currently. We haven't completed it, but the construction crews have been out there this summer, done the tree removals, the fence removals. You can see they've started working through the grading, and they'll be completing grading and doing vegetation establishment over the coming month. That's the second phase of that project. The first phase was completed last year and did show some improvement, so we extended it for a additional linear footage second phase. Sandcroft outfall cleaning. This one is now permitted, and we've bid the construction, have a construction contract that will be coming through council and expect to start cleaning and get that completed by October as well. So you'll see this at the next council meeting most likely.
Great.
The Ferguson Village Drainage Project. You're seeing the easement acquisitions come through the Public Works Utilities the last couple of meetings. You can see kind of on the figure in green where we've been able to acquire easement in combination with the downstream work we've done with the museum property across the street, in coordination with DOT for the culvert under the roadway. This gives us enough easement to be able to do the first round of improvements and cleaning in the neighborhood. So that work is scheduled for our internal field ops crews as well for this year. Should see that progressing. Concord and Cumberland. This is an outfall replacement project downtown. There's basically a badly damaged outfall system that is no longer functioning. The pipe is no longer functioning. So we worked with the property owner here to get a gratis dedication of a new outfall, and work with a contractor to basically core through this existing seawall and build a new outfall from the road to relieve the flooding that we see kind of at Cumberland and Concord. Should be a significant improvement to drainage. We've done some temporary pumping in these areas to try to relieve it in the short run, but this should be a long-term gravity-based solution. That is right about to go to construction with that awarded contract. Exchange Street outfall cleaning. This is again down at Exchange near Waterfront Park and Concord Street. The permits have been received for this one. We're looking at, can we use our own field ops crews to do some cleaning here, which would be a less expensive way to do smaller outfall cleanings, which would let us get to more outfall cleanings in future years. So it's something we're doing as a little bit of a pilot project here. That should start construction this year as well. So these are now projects that are still in the design and permitting phase. Anita Drive, my light's back on. Anita Drive, in West Ashley, we have tentatively negotiated easement agreements with the property owners. We're looking to tie the drainage from this neighborhood into the West Ashley Bikeway, which is the phase one of the Forest Acres Drainage Project that we just talked about. We have a survey done, plats are in production for that easement acquisition. That'll let us complete our design drawings, what we've talked about with the property owners, and basically restore a combination of open channel and piped conveyance from the roadway back into the greenway. And that should be a significant flood reduction. This area has some serious flooding challenges during major rain events. Asbury Place pipe upsizing, another West Ashley Road. We've completed our design. Permits have been submitted to the Army Corps and to the state DES. We're waiting for comments back on those. Once we receive our permits, we'll be able to move into a construction phase on that. It's near the intersection of Canterbury, as you can see from the the design drawings here. Oak Forest outfall improvements. This is the area south of the Forest Acres project, the neighborhoods to the south. We finished the conceptual design modeling for potential improvements with our consultant. Acquired easements from the property owners and shopping centers between the Greenway and Savannah Highway. Have submitted our permits again to the Army Corps of Engineer and DES to be able to do maintenance on the section of the canal that runs sort of through the church parking lot here. Our plan is to do that cleaning with the existing small project funding following those permits, and then the remainder of the work will need to shift over into capital project for upsizing the pipes under the Greenway and then potentially adding more capacity under Savannah Highway in the long run, which will provide very significant flood reduction based on the modeling we've done.
Mr. Fountain.
Yes.
Back to Oak Forest. What about cleaning the existing pipe underneath Savannah Highway?
Yeah, so that's right, Mr. Chairman. As part of that work, when we do the outfall cleaning with those permits, we will also coordinate with DOT and clean the box culverts under Savannah Highway as
Great.
well. That's right.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a very good question. We want to make sure we have the outfall cleaned first, so we're not bringing more water into that restriction in the outfall before we do that box culvert cleaning.
Got you. Thank you.
Yep. Hazelwood Taborwood. This is just off of Orleans Road. Design and construction. We did do a construction round where we rehabilitated all these kind of larger rear yard ditches that run through the neighborhood. We've finished doing the hydraulic modeling for the interior pipe upsizing, finding which of the smaller pipes are causing constriction. We're working through the permitting for that pipe upsizing and look to construct those improvements likely towards the end of this year for those pipe improvements.
Great.
North Nassau Street. This is kind of draining down into the New Market Creek area we were just talking about that would have a benefit from potential tide protection in the future as well as some ecological restoration. But North Nassau drains down kind of a pretty heavily flooded area, including Conroy, Morrison, Coolblow. There's a 12-inch pipe basically that runs down this section of North Nassau. We do have tide protection on the pipe, but the pipe isn't big enough to drain the area out very well. Most of it instead flows back to Meeting Street into a pipe that receives water all the way up to Mount Pleasant Street and Morrison. I'm sorry, Romney Street is the other street I was thinking of here, excuse me. So that's a very large basin. A lot of the area up on Mount Pleasant and Morrison is much higher in elevation, which pushes flooding down into some of these low-lying areas as well. So we're looking at trying to provide an additional pipe on Nassau to drain that area out. This is one of the newer projects that was approved this year. We have a surveyor contracted to do survey work through the street to look for utility conflicts. That's one of the main challenges in finalizer and H&H design. Our funding for construction on this project is for 2026, so we'll be looking to do design through 2025 and then construction sometime in 2026, depending on how what the survey finds. Donahue Drive drainage improvements. This is a neighborhood over in West Ashley off of Old Town Road. Coordinating with CWS, we've worked through an MOU to do some survey work on the drainage system in the rear of the properties. That's been completed. We passed an MOU with council for CWS to do some dredging of accumulated material that's in this pond. CWS is going to add an aerator into it for some of their considerations as well. The city has completed a survey looking at some modifications to the outfall, which comes under the access road for Charleston Landing, and then also looking at some potential improvements for the pipe coming from Donahue down into the pond, which is our primary drainage system for this neighborhood, to see if we can improve the hydrology there and reduce some of the flooding on the streets in this area. So that we're looking at potential construction on the pipe work this year. CWS has acquired the home to the side of the property, which will let us have some access to the pond. And then the outfall, we're still evaluating final design, but that may be part of the same project. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, do you have a question on that one?
Yeah, isn't CWS supposed to start kind of cleaning out that pond soon? Yeah.
That's right. Yes, yeah. They have a contractor set up with an MOU with us for removing some of the accumulated material that's come in from a combination of
Right.
utility issues on the road.
Right, thanks.
Yep. Confederate Circle pipe replacement. This is a failed pipe that sort of sits slightly outside, kind of where I think the original pipe would have been intended. We're looking at replacing the failed pipe with a new pipe back within the bounds of the intended pipe location. Completed our survey work, completed coordination with the homeowners, currently looking through how we can minimize tree impacts from doing excavation work through the area. Once that's resolved, we'll move to in-house construction most likely on this one. Cross Creek neighborhood, reviewing culverts. So this is, we've gone through this neighborhood and done canal restoration, ditch restoration, and pipe cleaning. We're finalizing a little bit of pipe cleaning from some of the ditch restoration right now. Procuring a surveyor to check on some of the existing larger culverts to see if any of those are undersized and causing some of the backup that we see in the neighborhood. And then we'll look at replacing any of those undersized culverts with larger culverts as the next phase of the project once we've finished that modeling evaluation. Drapier Drive outfall cleaning. Survey work's been completed in the area, discussed with the property owner. We need to finalize our drainage easement and get into the permitting with the finalization of that easement so that we can then clean that outfall system as well. Signal point drainage improvements. This is another project in coordination with Charleston County. Charleston County is preparing some downstream improvements where pipes come into the pond from the system that serves the school. The county had previously done a series of pipe improvements under Grimble Road. This is the second phase of their improvements. We're working along Signal Point Road to tie our improvements into these canal improvements that are downstream. We've completed our survey work through the area and are doing the in-house design right now to be able to identify those improvements within our system as the county finalizes their design for their system.
Quick question, Mr. Fountain?
Yes.
Is that okay, Mr.
Sure,
Chairman?
sure. Go ahead, Ms. Parker.
On Signal Point, can you go back to that one? Okay. Because I know are we going to be able to kind of deal with the situation in there with this being a small project, or is this something that's going to have to, turn into a capital improvement?
So it's a good question, Councilor Parker. It looks like with the modeling that we've done and the county has done, the county's improvements downstream will drop the water levels enough in this canal system to provide the potential for some pretty significant improvement. I mean, they've done two relatively significant capital projects to do that. The city then, what we're evaluating right now with the survey is, can we do straightforward improvements of the ditches and culverts under the driveways with the small project budget to be able to get enough water into that system with that lower water surface? We have not finalized it yet to determine we can. We're pretty optimistic with what we're seeing that we can, or at least make a very, very significant improvement to the drainage out there. Whether it will completely eliminate flooding, that we need to still do a little more design, but we will see it do much better. It's a very, very flooded road.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And we're working with the PSD out there also as they've got their facility in the area. Wagner Terrace outfall. This is one that we've looked at some conceptual design options with Joshua Robinson's group. We have a potential marsh restoration approach rather than a more traditional outfall cleaning approach. So that's something we're talking to Joshua about for permitting methodologies, and he's taking a look at, similar to what his group did in West Ashley, Mr. Chairman, over in kind of the Maryville, Asheville area with some of the marsh restoration work.
Yeah.
So I think that would tie in well to Ms. Gaston's ideas for some of the corridor work in the area, for ecological corridor. So that's something we're evaluating currently to see if that'll work from a permitting perspective, and then we can move into construction. Wimby Drive. This is the last of the projects. This is drainage rehabilitation, trying to restore kind of rear yard channels that you can see here that were built in that drain some of the roadways but don't have easement on them. So acquiring easement on these ditches so that we can have crews come in and restore those ditches to help drain out Wimby and Watery and some of Coosaw down into the system that we're working to improve with the East Oak, West Oak Forest Outfall Improvement Project.
So,
And that's the end of
Mr.
the
Felton,
presentation.
on our approach, when you got to go through that many backyards, I mean, how do we do that? I mean, one at a time, or we send out letters,
So
group?
it's a great question, Mr. Chairman. We do go through the neighborhood because we want people to be aware of what's going on and try to give some information. Sometimes neighbors know each other and will offer to talk to their neighbors, but the methodology is to sort of start at the downstream and work our way up, because if we can get 3 or 4 properties here, we can at least restore that part of the ditch and get it working better and show residents what it looks like. And sometimes that helps us get the next section of properties. But it is challenging. Whenever there are this many properties, you do run the risk that you get some holdouts who make it challenging to move the project forward.
I'm just wondering, maybe at one of their future neighborhood association meetings, whether the president can reach out to their neighbors and ask them to come to a meeting. So maybe as a group, they can hear what the possible improvements are. It'll help out. That's all.
Yeah, no, we could definitely do that. What we're doing right now is working to get the surveyor to come out to see exactly how the ditch would potentially fit between properties and trees and existing sheds and yards, and that sometimes helps residents be able to see it on a drawing to understand what it would look like in their backyard. That can help a lot.
Right.
But I think the neighborhood association meeting is a great idea.
Okay, good. I'll work on that. So did you keep count? I didn't. How many small projects do we have?
A lot.
I know.
Oh, this list is I think 21 projects, Mr. Chairman, I think.
That's absolutely wonderful. Many of y'all may know this or may not, but prior to Mr. Fountain's coming, we didn't have a small project list. Okay. It was his suggestion that we come up with that. And I think it's expanded from like 4 or 5 projects to now, wow, 20 projects going on. And not counting the ones that's already been completed. As we approach the budget process, and we all got some notices of meetings, budget ad hoc process. Our small budget allocation for 25 was what? Was it $1 million to $1.5 million?
$1 million, that's right.
I mean, does it make sense to find ways to increase that? Because I got to tell you, these small projects in particular, it primarily helps the older established neighborhoods. And it creates, I think, for a small amount of money, it creates a big bang in the neighborhood. People see the difference immediately. So if we were to double that, do we have the capacity to implement?
We could certainly do 1.5 million next year, Mr. Chairman. We could look at whether we could get all the way to 2 million capacity wise, but we could certainly get to 1.5 million.
All right, okay.
Mr. Chairman, that was going to be my question. How are you on staffing, Matt?
We did add a project manager for the small projects who's been very helpful. That's why we're seeing even accelerated progress. Part of the reason there's so many on this list is this is some of the funding from 2024 and 2025. Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned, we have a lot of completed projects from
Right.
2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. But I think we do have some capacity, even as we're moving through these projects and completing them over the next 6 months, to maybe do 1.5 million next year, because we'll still be finishing some of these projects next year. But then maybe the year after that, we would have the capacity to go up to 2 million or so. I think that might be a good way to stair step it a little bit as we work through some of this backlog.
I just think that's great. If you look at the consistency throughout these projects, all of them are virtually gravity flow. I mean, and we don't have to get pumps from England that pumped underneath the English Channel to get this stuff done. Anyway, so these, I still think when we do these things, we need to have I went to a print shop today, and the county has these new signs coming out. You may have already seen them with road improvement projects. It's got a half of a penny, like Abraham Lincoln copper penny on it. I saw that up in Charlotte years ago. And so when they, I guess, going to be doing things in the future, you're going to be able to see those signs. I think we need to come up with signs like that. Another small project, drainage project to improve your neighborhood. Just to stick out on the side of the road when our people are out there making those improvements. But you remember when you first suggested, how many years ago was this, Mr. Hunt? Was it about how long?
Yeah, I think we started funding them in 2020, Mr. Chairman. I think was
All
the
right.
first year we funded them.
So 5 years. Well, that's wonderful. Council Lady Parker.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yeah, that's a great idea because especially, I mean, out here on James Island, sometimes you're not sure. I mean, we know the trucks sometimes, but honestly, a lot of people, you don't know if the county's working, the city's working, the town's working a lot of times. But I agree that I know that you guys do an incredible job with the community outreach. But yeah, great work. Thank you so much for all of those updates. And Councilmember Gregory, to your question, I know we only have HR meetings quarterly, but I know the most recent or way back, I think in April, our HR meeting, Mr. Fountain and HR they've done an incredible job. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong and tell me where you are now since it's been a few months, but with staffing, especially, in those, these jobs that are these hard labor jobs that it was really hard to get these filled a few years ago. You guys have done a really phenomenal job filling those. So kudos to that. I don't know I can't off the top of my head, Councilmember Gregory, what those numbers are, but I believe comparing your vacancy rates to previous rates and to other departments, y'all are doing pretty good.
It is certainly better. I think we've gone from 50% to 60% vacant in COVID era down to about 30% vacant currently. So we certainly, that's our field ops group. In our office staffing, we're pretty much fully staffed. It's just field ops where we're still working. As you mentioned, that's always the most challenging. So we do have some ideas. We'll be bringing them up again this year for the budget session. It has gotten better, but we've stabilized it a little bit again, and we'd like to see it get all the way up to 5% vacancy or so would be a great target for us probably.
Absolutely. And just sorry, Councilmember Gregory, quick follow-up. And that's just what I wanted to mention. Mr. Fountain, you came up with some great ideas, having, temp agencies and things like this, and you really worked with HR. So again, just wanted to commend you on that because it seems like from my time here, it's improved, it's really come a long way. So thank you.
It's definitely improved. Thank you so much. And thanks for everybody's support, continued support on it.
And you can repeat the playbook, right? For increasing your vacancy.
We will, yes. We will present an organized plan that is replicable.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because that is definitely tremendous.
Another thing, it's all over the city, so it's not like all those people over there getting all the small projects and these people over here are getting none. I really appreciate the diversity and the projects and the way you have approached them and making improvements geographically simultaneously. Because we in Charleston, it started with used to be the school district used to be, oh man, they're getting all the new schools over here and we get nothing over here. Fortunately, we're not running into that with these small projects, and thanks a bunch on that. You had an idea, and I'm on an apprentice program, so people who were in the labor intensive area can see a pathway, upward mobile path towards employment. How are we coming along with that and with human resources? Is it still on the drawing board? Is anybody considering that? Where are we?
Yeah, that's an item that we have been discussing, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Keen and I have a meeting with the new HR director. It is, let's see, this Wednesday, I think, to talk about that. So,
great. Okay.
That's something we'll be proposing again in the budget this year and hoping the new HR director is on board and excited about the opportunities.
Sounds awesome. Awesome.
And this is establishing a career ladder, right?
That's right. Like a skill-based career progression for the department where you promote through as you learn the new different pieces of equipment and get your different CDL licenses.
Thank you.
All right, I want to thank Councilwoman Parker for asking for that update. Let me tell you, that was a breath of fresh air to all of us,
Mhm.
not just you. Okay, item J1, request approval for professional service contract with Thomas and Hutton. I thought this was supposed to be withdrawn.
I thought it was going to be transferred to West Edge,
Right.
but the mayor's not on now, so I think
He had to jump off. He sent me a text.
yeah.
They closed the door of the airplanes. I mean, he definitely was multitasking. He was jumping on the plane, coming back from Atlanta, back home. And of course, when you shut the door, they make you jump off the phone. So,
Mr. Chair, I do have a presentation on behalf of the mayor that put together that I think addresses some of the questions that some of the committee had at the last meeting. If that's helpful, I'm happy to walk through that really briefly.
well, thank you, lady, for coming and bailing me out on that one. Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you, Jennifer, for screen sharing. I'll go ahead really briefly if that works for you, Mr. Chair.
That's fine. That's fine. You
Sure,
have the
sure.
floor. Go ahead.
So just really quickly, a context of the Haygood of this contract and the Haygood Avenue Improvement Plan really kicked off about 2 years ago. Several council members, I think yourself included, Mr. Chair, several different departments and divisions and stakeholders got together for a workshop session because obviously picture we're looking at there right there is what happens quite routinely over on Haygood Avenue, deeply impacting those residents nearby, particularly at Gadsden Green. So we had a workshop of ideas with the stakeholders. Next slide. This was kind of the context study area. I know that was a question that came up at the last meeting when we deferred it of what the boundaries were that's going to be studied within this scope of work. I will say it's been narrowed a bit from this picture just to Spring Street. That was based off some feedback we have gotten about from SCDOT and looking at different extension of Haygood and things of that nature. So keeping the scope a little more narrow. Next slide there, Jennifer. Sorry, back one more. And these were the themes that we had talked about that needed to be addressed when looking at the master planning of this area, water, obviously, the mobility, transportation, road improvements, also looking at, this is one of our GIS department did a urban heat mapping for the city, and this was one of our hottest areas. So how we are integrating any improvements with tree canopy, as well as looking at the development there. Next slide, please. And again, there's a lot happening over in this area. So you can just see a laundry list here of all the projects that we've had stakeholders at the table that need to be integrated with this planning effort. Next slide there, Jennifer. This is just a concept that our wonderful design division had just put out there as sort of a road diet, improvements for Haygood, looking at how we also integrate the stormwater benefits that are much needed in that area. Next slide, Jennifer. Again, this is our core partners that we were brought at the table from the beginning, and MUSC, Charleston Housing Authority, and West Edge are all funders and have committed funding to this effort with the city money. The Citadel, they're working through like some land and how we can work with them, and then just highlighting. I know the last meeting there was some questions regarding the scope. This is the most updated scope, and it has been reviewed by legal. I believe Melissa's on the line. She's been working with Thomas and Hutton, but you can see that, that the vision for the Gadsden Creek area and bringing 3 options to the table for the city to review, highlighting nature-based features as well as the best interest of the residents. And as you can see specifically, all of these options that come before us need to be within the confines of that existing permit that West Edge was approved of from the Army Corps of Engineers. And again, you can see that the stormwater design, it's taking it up to 30% there. And again, looking at some natural-based features, also looking at some of the water quality as well. That's my quick brief of where we're at with the Haygood. So this contract with Thomas and Hutton, the 198 is combined with that additional contributions we're getting from our stakeholder and partners that have been at the table with us. So this would be executing that contract so we can get the work started so that we have we have designs and a master plan that we can go after some shovel ready projects here over in this much needed area.
Just a quick question, and this is Gregory, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
In reviewing what was in our package, it did appear as though the language regarding reimagining Gadsden Creek changed.
Yes.
Okay. And I think as a result of that change, I think it's definitely something I always support. But I don't want us to continue to kick this can down the road. We need to get to work on it, Mr. Chairman. I know that the group had decided that we would be using West Edge as the West Edge rather,
Right.
as the administrative component. I know, and when we spoke with the mayor a couple of days ago or yesterday, I think that he was under the impression that it is something that should be under West Edge. Did you get that impression?
I did. As a matter of fact, if you remember, we passed our appropriations, I think October of 23,
Mm-hmm.
try to expedite it. And then obviously other stakeholders, the Housing Authority and West Edge came in with their portion. And the whole idea was to expedite it and run it through West Edge so it wouldn't slow down the approval process. But anyway, so it cost the mayor. That happened prior to the mayor being elected and taking office. So
Well, it's still on it's still on council agenda, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that would be the time that we pivot.
See, I thought this was going to be taken off, but that was Friday,
Right.
Monday, and obviously the mayor had to go out of town this morning, so I could see how that could have fallen maybe through the cracks. Well, why don't we do this? If the pleasure is to go through and approve it, a body, why don't we as a committee approve it? And then if we want to council, I don't slow anything up. I don't do anything to slow anything up.
Right.
So, and if the item is this should go through West Edge, then we could take care of that at council.
I agree. I move for approval.
Good. Probably moved. Okay, second up to that motion. Okay. Any more discussion on that motion? All this is just to expedite that.
Right.
So we'll be able to go in any direction at council. So all in favor of moving this?
Aye.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Listen, I have to commend all you all. We're at 5:55. And your chairman was all of 3 minutes late. So we done all this work in less than an hour. So my compliments to staff and certainly colleagues on council. Any final comments? If there aren't any, by acclamation, we stand adjourned. See you all tomorrow.
See you
Thank